In this video, I'm going to talk about sales gamification strategies that you can deploy in your agency today, this week, this month, whatever, so you can get way bigger results. Stay tuned. This one's going to be fire. What's happening, FlowChat Connector? I'm Sean, back at you here with another FlowChat sales training coaching tip so that you can win with your agency in 2022. Hope you're having a great day today. I got a great question that came in from Tim. Tim asked this. He said, Sean, how do I add gamification to my sales team? Well, Tim, I'm actually going to cover today the basics of gamification, stuff that everybody should know if they're even interested or wanting to learn just a little bit more about gamification. It's a very basic look into what this means and how to apply it. So how do we add gamification into our strategy? Well, first of all, we need to know what sales gamification is. So what is gamification? Quick definition from Webster. Webster says gamification is the application of typical elements of game playing, example, point scoring, competition with others, rules of play, to other areas of activity, typically as an online marketing technique to encourage engagement with a product or service. So Sean, that's great. That's amazing. Great definition from Webster. How do we mean? What does it mean? Like why do we even need, gamification? Why is it even important to have in our business? Well, a couple of reasons. Number one, this was a study that was done by a company called Coffee Closers. It's a community for sales pros. And they said 90% of your team members will be motivated to participate. I read through this study. It was pretty, astounding to see that. Actually, the people that were around the age 30 were the most likely to really get fired up when it comes to gamification. As people get a little bit older, into their 40s and their 50s, gamification does not become as important to the younger generation. So depending on the age of your sales team, gamification could be very relevant for your agency, right? Secondly, was it increases friendly competition amongst team members. That should be pretty straightforward. It also draws out the right players. It draws the right type of sales professionals into your organization, the ones that want to compete, the ones that are hungry, and the ones that want to win the most. And lastly, 90% plus businesses see a positive impact from adding gamification. So if you're the unlucky 10%, I'm sorry, but most of people, including probably you and your agency, are going to be in that 90% range. If you do this effectively, it will absolutely grow your business. So that's cool to know. Let's go on. So what's the strategy, Sean? Okay, I'm so glad you asked. So there's a couple of things you need to understand. Number one, we need to make sure that our team is on board with participation. You must get a majority of your members on board to participate, meaning at your next sales huddle, just say, hey guys, would you be up for adding a little bit more gamification into the platform here so you guys can all compete, you can play, you can have fun, you can win a bunch of things. If they all say yes, very easy conversation. So get participation. That's number one. Number two, when you're building out your gamification strategy, make sure and stay super transparent. What do I mean? Make sure all the rules, the regulations, the awards, and the leaderboards are available publicly and easily available to see by each and every member that's competing. Next, what's important is timeliness. Make sure it's relevant to the stage of business that you're in. This has a lot of implication, right? If you're just getting started, one of the coolest gamification in your business, in your agency, if you're just starting to grow your agency, one of the coolest things you can do is you can say, hey, if we break our record from last month, you get an award. If we hit our stretch goal, you get an award. This becomes a very easy style of gamification when you first get started with your agency. Once your agency is a little bit more established, now we want to look at what's relevant in the marketplace. Maybe you set a benchmark like, hey, this is going to be this month's target. And then we'll hit this. And by the way, the timeliness of where we're at in business, like how big is your team? How many people are competing? What can you afford to put into the gamification strategy? So these are things you want to think about before you go in and build the strategy. A couple more things here to just be aware of. So continuing on with the strategy here, the next one is the rules. Make sure everyone plays by the same rules, right? Like any sporting event, right? When you first start any sporting event, the umpire or the referee or the official will come up to the front of the thing and talk with the coaches and say, listen, like, here's the rules. If you're playing baseball, as an example, the coaches will come to home plate and they'll be talking with the umpire. Umpire will be like, okay, look, if a ball goes over here and this is a foul ball, this is a foul ball. If this happens, that's the rules. Everybody agree on this? Yes. Okay. Same conversation needs to apply when you're adding sales gamification into your sales team. team. Make sure that the rules are right next to where the awards are. Typically, one-pagers are the best for that. Nextly, goals. Ensure goals are fair and achievable. That's the biggest one that I cannot stress more than enough. If you couldn't achieve that goal on your own, don't put it in place for your sales team because they're probably not going to be able to achieve it. Maybe they're better sales pros than you. That's cool, but still ask them to work. Maybe take your best sales guy if you don't know what you're doing there and just say, hey, listen, what would be a really fair, achievable thing that we could add as like kind of here's the goal that we want to hit. And then that becomes an easy conversation to have with your top leaders. And then guess what? You're going to get buy-in from those guys. And then when they go back and you're addressing the population, your lead sales guys are going to be like, this is going to be awesome, guys. Can't wait to compete. And then he'll be or she'll be the one to help you get everybody else on board to move forward. And lastly, but not least, a couple more things here. The end of the strategy session here, prizes. Depending on your business, here's some ideas. Most people are like, Sean, how do I set up the goals and the prizes? Well, I just want to walk through a couple of these things. Number one, cash. Cash is king. Everybody knows that. If people hit, so what we do in our sales force, we have a benchmark goal, right? And if we achieve a benchmark goal, if it hits a certain award, if they hit the first stretch goal, they get another award. And if they hit the second stretch goal, which is very, very, very difficult to achieve, then they actually get a third and even bigger goal. So sometimes we use cash. Usually we use cash for the first goal, sometimes second goal, and then we move into some of these other things. Paid time off, right? If you're the type of person who has employees on your sales team that are salaried people, maybe just giving them, like some paid time off to go spend time with their family. If their family, is one of their highest values, that's a great one to do. Next one is this, half days, right? So if you are, a contractor based of hiring sales pros on a contractor base, and you say, hey, well, look at like just work this half day, you get the award, go spend, have a nice long weekend, right? Next one, dinners. Dinners are so powerful. These can come in kind of two forms. Number one, you could do a team dinner, right? To celebrate and then give an award to the top performers in your gamification plan and strategy. Or number two, you could actually set up, if you have somebody on your sales team who just crushes it, you can give them a gift card and say, hey, go take your wife out or your husband out for a nice meal tonight. And boom, then you got them, right? So that's another great award that you can give. Here's another one, recognition. Everybody loves trophies. Don't forget that when you were a little kid, you probably won a lot of trophies, right? Hopefully you did. And those mean a lot, right? Those are embedded in our mind of like, if you win the trophy, that means you're the best. That's why it works so well, is because it's ingrained in our bodies. So if you haven't created a trophy, it's very easy. You can go over to these trophy creation places on Amazon. You can pull one out. It's very simple to do. Make up some weird award. It's awesome. I don't know. It builds culture. It creates team, camaraderie, and people want that freaking award. I remember when I was selling roofing material in a past life, and they had this thing called the Eagle Award. I was on a team of 350 salespeople, and they had the one guy who outsold everybody else at the end of the year got this massive, it was like Stanley Cup size, massive eagle, and you get your name embroidered on it. It was super cool, and everybody was gunning for that thing every single year. It was really cool to see that, right? So that's what I encourage you to do. And raffles, another one, right? You could have a collection of prizes, and depending on how well they sell, you could issue raffles for every sale that they make or something like that. That is another great idea. And last but not least, trips. Right? You could have a team trip where, hey, if our whole team performs on this gamification strategy plan, then we're all going on a trip. Or maybe you just win a trip for two somewhere, right? Really interesting to think about. And with that said, these are the kind of the basic guidelines around gamification. And so if you put more of these into your world, what you're going to find is that a lot of your members of your team are going to flourish. And that's what everybody wants to have happen. So with that said, you've just been tuned up. I hope you have a great day today. Make sure and smash that like button and share this out to other people so the algorithm gets fed and more people can see this content. And please share it if you have anybody that you care about, agency owners that might be looking to add gamification. This is a very good basic borderline for them. And with that said, I am looking forward to seeing you next time. Talk soon.